Hey guys, Axlin here. So today's video I was gonna talk about the March 23rd grand opening event that gives you like a lot of the armor and even like a guaranteed SSR weapon that you get. Some people will tell you that maybe the best option would be like dual swords that you can get in the box. So like these you'd probably get for like melee, for example, right? So Meliodas you'd probably get like naturally the dual swords. But if you haven't redeemed the box already and you haven't like already started building up your account and you're a new player and you're seeing this, um, I'd probably recommend like maybe so the weapon selection bundle that's like $1, right? I'd probably get that for the dual swords, but I don't think I'd go for a second pair of dual swords because you want to focus on overall variety, right? So you want to take a look at like all your characters that you're using. What's like your 4 characters? Some people would tell you like, oh, you should probably go for like 2 dual swords or something. I honestly, I really don't think so. Only for the simple fact that like you really want to be trying to do like as much damage as possible, right? And naturally, as you're trying to like progress and stuff, your bench might be taking a while for you to get your SSR weapons. So for me, like naturally, I picked the gauntlets, and for Deanne, right? Because like naturally it just boosts up your overall power by a lot, and she does quite a bit of damage, especially like as a burster for gauntlets. She's just amazing. She's really good to use. So naturally I went gauntlet, but realistically you should be focusing on like all the characters that you're using, trying to find like a suitable weapon for them. Plus with like Meliodas, right, you wouldn't necessarily be going for the longsword that's in the box, for example, just because like this weapon right here, gluttonous that you craft through the table, is just 10 times better than the like this series Black Flames longsword. So you wouldn't be going for that longsword on Meliodas. You'd be trying to go for this. But early on, like in content, right? When I said earlier that you should be buying like the dollar box for like the dual swords, I mean, naturally somebody would probably be playing like what, dual sword Meliodas in the beginning when you pull them. That's a good thing to have, so you can have like the dual sword Meliodas if you pull like the end, then you could use like the other box that you get for like somebody else, for example, right? I would go DN because you're trying to break the gauge. If you are buying like another start like dual swords, I'd probably like Tristan, since like Tristan pairs with Meliodas for his ult. That's not a bad combination. But overall, you just want to be thinking about like who to use and stuff. Even when it comes to like let's talk about the engraved a little bit, right? Because that's another thing you'll get. I think 35,000 was the cap for you to get everything. So naturally, let's see, you'd come here or something, for example. You just go to the lady like for the engraving. And we're gonna talk about that too. So let's see. Let's talk to this lady right here. So you'd come over here, and naturally on the March 23rd grand opening event, they would give you all the stuff for this. So you would get like the chest piece, just everything that you would need in here. So like your magic infused enhancement metal, just all that stuff. Basically, with that, I would recommend building that towards your DPS. So Meliodas, I would go for immediately, and then trying to like worry about everyone else later, right? Because the point is, you're gonna want to be doing like a lot of damage early on. It just helps you progress a lot faster. So okay, let's talk about that, right? So let's see. Meliodas is engraved equipment. You want to be trying to go for like a good engraved bonus, but I think your main thing that you'll want to be looking for, right, is trying to get this as high as possible. But this would be your number one thing. Trying to get like level 3 on your bottom passive. That is the most important thing that you want to worry about. This would be the second. So let's talk about the engraving bonus. For the engraving bonus, these aren't as important because you could actually re-roll them from enchantment play. Let's see, so you'd be able to like engrave these 3 things, right? So you can come back and do that. These 2 you can't change. This is what you're stuck with. So my advice would be, always keep your level 3. passive, because that's the hardest to get. It's 10% on level 3. On the engraved equipment, it's a little bit more difficult because it's like you can kind of get whatever, right? But that does not change if you try to re-roll it. So keep that in mind. Obviously, try to go for 130, but this is just the most important thing. So trying to get like a high engraved, that's the second priority. You'll want to do that. But, if not, and you're just, re-rolling parts and you're not getting gear that's as good, I would be feeding off the same gear that you'd get, like, as you're grinding dungeons and stuff, and feeding that to the engravement bonus if you do not like the bonus. These are permanent, I believe. But yeah, you would want to change these 3. These are the 3 most important things that you'd want to change. Just trying to see what you can get out of it and trying to get, like, your best rolls. If you end up getting, like, a bad equipment. Only do that for bad equipment. Alright? So, that's, like, one thing I would talk about. That would go, like, with your weapons. So that's the stuff that you would get from the March 23rd drop. Keep in mind, as, like, a new player, I'm pretty sure once you get it, you'll kind of be in, like, the swing of things. Right? But, how to get that stuff, it's kind of low. It's pretty low. So, let's take a look at it. You would be getting those parts from here. Obviously, like, the hell difficulty is the best place to get them because it's 10% versus like 7.5 or 5% from like the other difficulties. And you'd be trying to roll these 2 things, right? You'd want to get those as much as possible, minus everything else. You don't really need as much, but you would try to get that. And then the other 2 pieces that I'm going to talk about would be from like Gila, obviously. So like your Star Guardian bottoms and boots. Trying to do that with like a co-op team or something. And then the other thing, right? So I'm pretty sure you guys might have seen this from like another content creator or someone, but they'll talk about how you can get seals. So obviously you'd be trying to save up that, which honestly you can grind through getting chests or even your daily missions. So like just switch it to like Leonis and you'd be getting like 50 of these a day and just keep farming it until you get enough to buy your engraving seal. So you'd want to be doing that, right? I don't know what's going on. There we go. And then the last thing you'd want to do, right, for your magic infused stuff, you would just be basically salvaging your armor that you no longer need to where you can craft. Go ahead and buy that real quick. Sorry guys. Let's see. Let's look for it. So yeah, you'd be trying to get this. So basically, once you're done salvaging stuff, I think you would. So yeah, you after your salvage stuff, you would just be trying to get like 50 of these, and then you would basically pour that all into this, and then while trying to get like 25 platinum. So you build it from that, which could take like could be 2-3 days of grinding platinum ingots, which they do walk you through on how to get. I've mined mine for the day, so it won't say the locations. But you'd be getting that, and you'd focus on the enhanced metals. Anyway, so the other thing I wanted to talk about, right, which I just got, I kind of want to like talk about the off-slot weapons because I don't feel like they really talk about that as much. So for me, like my off-slot weapons, I try to build equipment attack. That's it goes into your overall attack and even just your overall team stats in general, which is really, really good. The one thing I can't stress enough though, let's see. So let me try to find it real quick. I would be trying to roll equipment attack and HP because that's just a lot of raw stat into your character. This goes from like the offhand into your overall equipment, your armor and your weapon. And so that's just HP and attack that you're getting from your weapons that you could just build into your overall character, which goes into your team combat power that you just really want to be building. So let's see. Let me try to walk up through a roll real quick. Let me try to see if I can get something higher than what I've got right now. So let's see. Keep in mind, if you do not have purples, just use blues. It's just as like a placeholder. But I would definitely try to keep your equipment attack. Not trying to build stuff like this. You just want to focus on equipment attack, HP. Defense, not as much, but if you get it with your equipment attack or your HP, okay, added bonus. But yeah, I think that'd be a good strategy to have as like your 30% attack. This is just like a little extra as you're building your stuff, and it just goes into your overall stat pool. So that's a little unique thing that you could use to kind of like work on your DPS or just any other character that you have. I just think that's like an overall good idea. I like for set stuff, I'd be going there for that too. My best advice as you're like trying to build your table and stuff too is trying to get your equipment bonus stuff. So like these are really good. For like a burster unit that you're gonna want because when you're trying to break the gauge so you can do more damage, you're really gonna want this stuff on like a character that's trying to break gauge, just so you could do overall damage and you could provide more use. So I think that'd be a good path to go. Just keep in mind, like just saving some of that stuff that you'll be getting from like these bosses, like this or Scorpion Beast and stuff like that. Just try to like hold on to that stuff as you get there, because this stuff is really good for later, especially since a lot of people are going to be talking about like how some equipment won't be as good later. I feel like these will, so just keep that in mind. But yeah, guys, that's what I wanted to talk about with you guys. Just try to really think about like what you're gonna buy with your box. Don't just buy it because somebody's gonna be like, oh, you should get that, you should get that. I really think you should buy what you feel comfortable with and just go from there. Because at the end of the day, it won't hurt. You're gonna want to like SSR like all your characters anyways. Just try to like put SSR stuff on there for your bonus. But just really focus on like your burster and your DPS for the most part. Your support, it's good to have. I wouldn't say it's mandatory, but definitely like your burst character and your DPS character should be your top two for your weapons, guys. Same thing with equipment. Definitely build to that, because like some bursters, like for example, are just really good. Like I can't stress enough how good Deanne is as like a burst unit. She's just really good. Overall great unit to have. But yeah, guys, just keep that in mind. Best of luck. Good luck on the pools. You can comment, tell me like what weapon you guys got. But yeah, hope to see you around.